The embarrassing ignorance of these elitist, pretentious Democrats never ceases to amaze me. The Democrats are so desperate, they've decided to deploy what has to be their worst strategy yet, highlighting just how out of touch they still are by spending $20 million to hire a consulting agency to research for them how they can better connect with young male voters. These arrogant, overly educated morons want to understand how they can connect with the common man, but they're too elitist to actually go and interact with the undesirables. Instead, they gather in swanky New York hotels and pontificate why men aren't voting for the party that loathes masculinity and blames them for all of the world's problems. In fact, it's so bad, Jake Tapper destroys the entire Democrat Party for their preachy and judgy attitude after his son is called racist for wanting to be a cop. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, and thank you guys so much for 250,000 subscribers. That is such a huge milestone in such a short period of time. I am honored, I am humbled, I appreciate the support. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Let's run this video up. And also be sure to turn on the notification bells because I'm seeing that YouTube isn't pushing out my videos to every single subscriber. So to make sure you never miss one, turning on that notification bell is important. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to show you the most embarrassingly hilarious example of why the Democrats just don't get it. They remain to be out of touch. Let's hear from the two Democrats who are going to discover and fix the problem that the Democrat establishment has with male voters. Be prepared to laugh.
And I also want you to talk about one of the newer articles that you wrote about why men drifted right in the previous election. I consider myself a resident expert on this because I am a man. So I feel like we could have an interesting conversation on the conclusions you reached in that article.
I don't want to be mean, but the two people they have doing their investigative research on how to get the male vote for the Democrat Party is a woman that no guy wants to touch and a guy that no man wants to be. The Democrats can just go ahead and send me the $20 million and I'll give them an answer right here. The reason men don't vote for Democrats is because Democrats hate men. They hate masculinity. They want us to be docile and passive, quiet and dainty. They want us to be weak. They don't want us to be brave. They don't want us to be ambitious. They don't like that we're aggressive. 2, your policies are insane. Center to the whole Democrat agenda is the concept that men can become women. Now, that brainwashing may work with women and weak men who are more concerned with not offending somebody than truth, but for regular men, we don't like being compelled by force to deny reality. And 3rd, and finally most important, the Democrat philosophy is all about the hierarchy between oppressed and oppressor. And in their logic, the oppressed people are good and should be celebrated, and the oppressors are bad and should be demonized. And they believe the patriarchy is bad, they believe men are the oppressors, and therefore have no place in your home for the marginalized and the oppressed. Let me show you just how little they understand about men when the big woman gives her strategy for how to get men to care about abortion.
The issue of abortion. When we message to young men on abortion, or men in general, we do it from the position of, well, real men protect women. And if you care about the women in your life, you should be pro-choice. And that might be true. That is true. But we don't come at it from the approach of this is the reality that young men face about that issue. Because it's entirely possible that a young woman in college gets pregnant unexpectedly. And that could upend her life if she doesn't have access to abortion care. But it's also entirely true that the young guy who gets her pregnant, now he's on the hook to not only take care of this child that could be him, that could be coming into the world, but also to take care now of the mother of his child. And I think that it would be so much easier if we just understood that the problems we're having with young men shifting to the right, it's not because they don't agree with us on the policy. They do agree with us on the policy. It's because they feel like we don't understand the struggles they're facing, the actual struggles, not the perceived struggles of the masculinity crisis or whatever it is, the actual struggles. And instead, we just kind of want to blame them for all of our problems.
So their strategy to persuade men to be for abortion is to try to appeal to a man's most selfish and immature nature and say, hey, you should be for killing babies or else you're going to have to man up and take care of it. They refuse to accept and understand that maybe men just don't want to kill babies. Again, their goal isn't to appeal to men, it's to appeal to feminine men. The Democrat goal is to appeal to irresponsible, honorless people who would rather kill a baby than have to make some life adjustments. It's this kind of general repulse to responsibility that leads Democrats to being in favor of socialism. Oh, life's too hard, life's too complicated. Oh, having to worry about my future, having to worry about housing. Oh, having to worry about my life insurance. Oh, worrying about how to have to feed myself. Being self-sufficient is so hard. I wish the government would just take care of it for me. That's what the Democrat Party offers, and that's the kind of voter that they want to attract. It's the same disgusting message that tells women, hey, kill your kid so you can get your college degree and go work your mid-level corporate desk job. And then you can have more brunch dates with the girls and buy another Louis Vuitton bag. Men are ambitious. Men want to build and create and go out into the world and make value, make a lot of money, take care of a woman, have a family. So men are obviously going to gravitate to the Republican Party, who says, we're not going to take care of everything for you like we're your mommy. What we're gonna do is create an environment where your hard work, your sacrifice, your determination will allow you to create a successful and prosperous life for yourself. We will create an environment where you can achieve that for you and your family. We didn't do it, you did it. The Democrat offering is, hey, if you're lazy, if you lack ambition, if you just wanna sit around and play video games all day, well, we'll pay for your housing, we'll pay for your food, we'll pay for your health care. You don't have to worry about anything. We'll take care of you so you can live the bare minimum, not contribute anything to society, and we'll keep you alive. Let's read a piece from this New York Times article that actually broke the story about the Democrats spending $20 million, because it is a hilarious read. For now, Democratic donors and strategists have been gathering at luxury hotels to discuss how to win back working class voters, commissioning new projects that can read like anthropological studies of people from faraway places. The prospectus for one new $20 million effort obtained by the Times aims to reverse the erosion of Democratic support among young men, especially online. It is codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a Strategic Plan, and promises investment to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, amongst other things. Above all, we must shift from a moralizing tone, it urges. So all this exposes is the Democrats have no real interest in connecting with regular workers or especially men and understanding what they want to see from a Democrat Party. I said this before, they are hoping to remain steadfast and hold the exact same policies that wrecked America over the last 4 years. They just want to find a new way to communicate it to dudes so maybe they'll like it more. But they're still relying on the same failed strategy of the experts, of the consultants. They're elitists, and so their methods are elitists. Hiring a consulting company to sit back and observe the young male voter and do research as if it's a foreign tribe that you're connecting with for the first time and you're understanding their ways and behaviors and how to relate to them. They refuse to connect with regular people because they refuse to share the same reality as us. That's why this $20 million effort is going to be a massive failure. And even MSNBC thinks so.
Yeah, good questions. One, let me save the folks from the Times and all the other great, print outlets some time. If you dig in on what Democrats are researching right now, you're going to find a lot of silly stuff. You're going to find people asking a lot of questions, people asking about syntax and do I drop the G from this word and this and that, and it's going to be a lot of that. So let me just warn everybody, that process is going to be very obnoxious for this 40-something. I would also say, we're really talking about young men, right? Young men who Democrats have not figured out a consistent pitch for how to get in front of. And I think it starts with authenticity.
What he said at the end was true. What the Democrats are lacking is authenticity. And the reason they're lacking authenticity, at least in connecting with this particular group, is because what they truly stand for, what they truly believe, is repulsive to men. Men want to be happy and have pride in their country. They don't want to be sad and subscribe to the down with Western civilization mindset. Men want to protect children. We don't want to be called evil bigots because we don't want our child's teacher talking to them about radical gender theory and that they can change their genders. Men want to become rich, so we don't subscribe to the left's logic that all of the problems in the world are caused by rich people and they're our enemy. Men want to work hard and provide value, so we don't subscribe to the ideology that all the fruits of our labor should go and pay for the welfare of illegal immigrants. The Democrats still think it's about slang or a TikTok dance. All they need to do is look at the current president, Donald Trump. He doesn't use any cringy slang to connect with kids. He is who he is. He's a rich, successful American businessman with a beautiful wife, and guys look up to that. What guys love about Trump is he says what's on his mind, and he doesn't care about the outrage from the crybaby left. He doesn't tiptoe around walking on eggshells, worried about falling victim to cancel culture. And so many men were tired of living in the censorship era under the Biden regime. The left's incessant, pretentious desire to have to feel morally superior in every situation, to cast judgment and shame anyone who doesn't agree with them. And that attitude from the left has finally caught up with Jake Tapper after his son was attacked for being a racist simply because he wants to be a cop. And Jake Tapper led into the Democrat Party. Check this out.
I went on a left-leaning podcast that shall remain nameless, and we were talking about my kids because I think they were both people without kids. And they asked me about my son, and I said he was, he's a football player and he wants to be a policeman. And their joke was about my 15-year-old son, oh, how does he feel about minorities? Like the idea that he wants to be a policeman, therefore he's racist, my son. And that was the big laugh. And then I got dragged in the comments and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, this is why you fuckers are losing elections.
100%.
Like my football playing son, who has no political views. He's 15. He thinks about World War II and gaming and playing linebacker. That's his world. You're deciding he's a racist because he wants to be a cop.
Now, a preachy, condescending person is annoying in any scenario, but it's even more annoying when the people casting this judgment are as morally bankrupt as the Democrats. They think they're the best people walking on the face of the earth and don't even realize that their perverse ideology has caused the confusion and corruption of an entire generation of children who are indoctrinated to think that men can become women. And it's cool, and you'll get more social credit for doing that, knowing how impressionable kids are to trying to fit in. It caused the mass invasion of the third world into our country, who are bankrupting our state and federal welfare systems. It's causing a breakdown in our social cohesion, as now 10 to 15% of the country can't even speak English. Their ideology literally brought back mass institutional racism. Except for this time, it was white people being punished and black and brown people being given advantage. They tore the country apart, and they're surprised that young men are on the side that wants to fight against that. They're surprised young men want to have pride in their country. They're surprised that young men don't want to be disenfranchised. Here's CNN saying that this $20 million survey is a stupid attempt that they just hope might stick.
So you're the man here. I will not mansplain you. All I will say is, duh.
Yeah, I know. Look, they should have probably recognized this a couple of cycles before when this trend was growing very apparent. This was a huge problem for them in the past election cycle, and they need to figure it out, because right now the Democratic message is really all over the place. What do they exactly stand for as they head into the midterm elections? But right now, it's a hope, really, among the Democratic leaders that that voters will recoil what they view as overreach from the Trump administration. They will make the argument that they need to be a check on Trump's power. And
like the entire headline sounds like satire. Multi-billion-dollar consulting agency hired to figure out how normal people think. And again, that's because a crucial part of Democrat strategy is taking perfectly simple and easily understandable ideas and making them as complicated as possible. Men aren't voting for Democrats because Democrat philosophy is men are the root of all problems and they're evil. That's why. It's as simple as that. If you want men back, you need to fundamentally change everything about your platform, not just make a TikTok video with some Gen Z slang in it. I have to believe at this point the Democrats just don't get it because they're choosing not to. Getting it would mean changing their platform. Changing their platform would mean relinquishing control, and we know that there's a 0% chance they do that. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the long weekend. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. I told you how important it was, and I will see you guys in the next one.